are going to see tonight is a concert of Orot Menatznezim, or you could also call it Blitzende Stern. But if you really want to know, tonight we're going to see a concert of Shimmering Lights with the great Yael Strom, who is a pioneer in Jewish culture. For more than 3 decades and 75 research expeditions, Yael has become one of the world's leading ethnographer artists of klezmer music and history. I mean, he combines klezmer with Hasidic nigunim and Roma and jazz, classical, Balkan, and all sorts of Sephardic motifs, which I'm sure you'll hear tonight. He was also the first klezmer musician to perform at the United Nations General Assembly. His research has resulted in photo documentary books, documentary films, CD recordings. He's the author of the Book of Klezmer, the history, the music, the folklore, and let's not forget that now he's the author of the beautiful new illustrated children's book, Shloimel Boimel and His Lucky Dreidel. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the great Yael Strom, Elizabeth Schwartz, and Jeff Pekarik giving us a beautiful concert of Shimmering Lights. Yael, why don't you join us and say hello to the lovely people? Shalom Aleichem, Yael and Elizabeth and Jeff.
Aleichem Shalom.
Shalom.
So
Chanukah.
Chanukah. Agit Yontif Tza'ale. And I'm very excited to have you here on the first night of our Hanukkah festival. We're here live. I'm live at the Betsy Hotel on Miami Beach, one of the top hotels in the world, nice. And there's no one else in the building. Only me. It's pretty amazing, and I'm very honored that they have chosen to sponsor our festival. But the good news is very soon they're going to open, and they're going to start slowly bringing people back in, and we are all coming back to life. So you are very lively, and I love you guys a lot. I've known you for a long time. So why don't you go ahead and take the stage and please have a good time. And when you're done, call me back and we'll schmooze for a little while, all right?
We will.
Ladies and gentlemen, Yael Strom, Elizabeth Schwartz, and Jeff Pekarik in Shimmering Lights.
Great. Thank you, everybody. So without further ado, the very first song is the classic Ma'atzur Yeshua T, or in Yiddish, Ma'atzur Yeshua C, but, and perhaps many of you sung it tonight after you lit the Shabbos candles first, then you know, unseen and sweet and lit, you lit your second candle.
You like the Hanukkah candles.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah.
It's okay. I'm here. I
That's
got
right.
your back, baby.
That's right. The rabbi just told me. That's right. Obviously, you like the Hanukkah first.
More authority than a rabbi.
Anyhow,
Right?
Elizabeth will tell you where this song comes from, and then please enjoy it.
This is a prayer you'll certainly know, but the melody is a little unusual, which is why we were so drawn to it. This is actually a Moroccan Jewish melody for Ma'atzur. So I'm drawn to it.
Ma'atzur Yeshuati L'chanael Shabeach Tikon Beit Tefilati V'sham Kodam Etzabeach Ve'et Achim Labeach Nitzaham Nabeach Azek Mod Shir Mizmor Chanukah Etzabeach. Mal zu Yeshua, die Lechana el Shabeach, Tikon beit tefilati, Visham toda mizabeach, Letachim matbeach, Nitzaham nabeach, Az egmor b'shir mizmor, Chanukah hamizbeach.
Okay.
Bravo.
We hope you enjoyed that, everybody out there and up in internet land. So for our next piece, I took a well-known folk melody. Ruth Rubin helped popularize it when she put it in her anthology, I believe, starting in the 50s. The great ethnomusicologist, lovely Yiddishist, and just a lovely person that I had the luck to meet a few times and even do some work with her, Ruth Rubin. Anyhow, and this was a song that my Bubba knew and my father knew, and the melody is bulbous. You know, all cultures like to sing about who are poor, and all cultures have rich, but they also have many poor. And so were the Jews. There were a few rich Jews, but most of us were middle to lower class and poor. And when you're poor, what is dear to your heart is food. So, and potatoes was eaten because it's a root vegetable. It keeps a long time and is cheap and not hard to grow. So I took the melody of bulbous and wrote new lyrics, and Elizabeth will talk to you. And the song is, so everybody out there, I hope you start to sing this song from many Hanukkahs to come, because it's simple and it's kind of cute. And Elizabeth will tell you, it's called latkes.
Sunday latkes, Monday latkes, Tuesday, Wednesday latkes, Thursday, Friday latkes. On Shabbos, for a special treat, latkes with sour cream. Sunday, continue with latkes. Mushrooms with latkes, cabbage with latkes, lunch and dinner latkes, more and more latkes. On Shabbos, after stew, latkes with whiskey. Sunday, continue with latkes, onions with latkes, garlic with latkes, fried and grated latkes, again and again latkes. On the Shabbos, after praying, latkes with applesauce. Sunday, continue with latkes. Yesterday, latkes, morgen latkes. Oh, excuse me, that's Yiddish. Tomorrow, latkes. Hanukkah without latkes is a scandal. Hanukkah without latkes is a shame. As we light the Hanukkah lights, my belly is bursting. No more hot latkes. Gentlemen.
So then after turn the improv, and then I'll bring that the turn like this. Okay. One.
Latkes, Montag latkes, Dienstag und Mittwoch latkes, Donnerstag und Freitag latkes, Shabbos in a Novena, Latkes mit Smetine, sind dick weite Latkes. Schwemmach mit Latkes, Kapuste mit Latkes, Wärmes und Wetschere Latkes, mehr und mehr Latkes. Shabbos noch ein Chunk, Latkes mit Maschke, sind dick weite Latkes. Latkes, Knobel mit Latkes, Getränke zum Zerreiben Latkes, Ober in diese Latkes, Schabes noch ein Damen in Latkes, Äpfelzimmer sind dick weite Latkes, Nachten Latkes, Morgen Latkes, Chaneke und Latkes ist schon da, Chaneke und Latkes ist schon da. Und in der Chaneke Licht, oh, es gibt Platz, mein Boy, nicht mehr heißen.
We hope you enjoyed that.
I'm so hungry now.
You know,
I know, right?
I'm actually hungry for some latkes. I love it. I can eat latkes for all 8 nights. Okay, everybody. So now we're gonna have Jeff on the big bass. And we're gonna change things up just a little bit, everybody. We're gonna play a piece, a melody, a niggin that comes from the shtetl, the town of Stolin. So as we used to say in our family, they said, so, wie weißt du? Leben Pinsk nicht weit von Minsk. Next to Pinsk and not far from Minsk. And that's the town of Stolin. They're known for in Yiddish culture for the Hasidim and wonderful melodies. So this is a melody that I found among some old klezmer notes. So enjoy this waltz. A waltz that actually I learned years later on that my Boba, may she rest in peace, she walked to her chuppah, or she would say chuppah, to this melody. Song or waltz. We hope you enjoyed that, everybody. A beautiful waltz for this second night of Hanukkah. So now we'll take you from the wilds of Belarus to actually
Turkey.
Okay, Elizabeth will tell you about this beautiful Hanukkah song, Hazaremos una merenda.
This is a Turkish Sephardic song. Let's have a party. What hour? I will tell you. Help me, my beloved. Help me, my life. And this is a macaronic song, so it's in Ladino, but help me, my beloved, help me, my life. This constant refrain is in Turkish. The first one puts the oil in the can, counting up to 10. The other puts the flour in a sack until 10 to make bormuelos in the days of Hanukkah. Let's have a party. What hour? I'll tell you. Help me, my beloved. Help me, my life. I'll look at you.
Hazaremos una merenda, qual volo dire, Yaraman, Emrume Yaman. La una quita l'azeite de un tene que hasta 10 Yaraman, Emrume Yaman. La otra quita la harina de un saco hasta 10 Yaraman, Emrume Yaman. Para hacer buñuelos en las días de Hanukkah, Yaraman, Emrume Yaman. Haremos una merenda. Qual lo direi, Yaraman, Emrume,
Bravo.
Yeah, Elizabeth, nice job. Jeff, nice.
Damn.
Wonderful.
And what's his face?
Our Jeff McCarry. And okay. So this next melody, I wrote this melody some years back after Elizabeth and I were doing some research, ethnographic research in the province of Moldavia, which is northeastern Romania, the capital city being Iași. And for those who know our wonderful Avi Hoffman, Avi is known for many artistic pursuits and wonders, but particularly Yiddish theater. And so I don't have to tell him, but the listeners might not know, Iași is where we really got our first Yiddish theater.
Yiddish musical theater.
Excuse me, right? Yiddish musical theater back in 76. And eventually comes over to the United States and is the true antecedent of Broadway musical theater. Why I bring this up, we were doing research there in a small shtetl, literally a dorf in Avramen, and the only one to remember Jewish music was a Roma gentleman, a Tzigan, a gypsy, a Roma gentleman. And his name, and so I call this Ben Avramen, the son of Avramen, in his honor. But then I wrote some lyrics some years later, and Elizabeth will tell you what these Yiddish lyrics are.
Come on over to drink red wine. I want to dance and drink and yell. Come inside to eat and stuff yourselves on stuffed cabbage with cracklings. Come inside to hear the klezmers and gaze at the two dancers. Come inside to hear the klezmers and put your pennies on the table. Klezmers, play a broom dance. Pull on those strings without shame. We're going to play pranks all night and laugh and crack jokes. Klezmers, play a broom dance. She is all decked out with her garland. Dancing and drinking without end. To be tipsy is the custom.
Schrein, Kimmeisen, Essen, Fress, Herrlichkes mit Grillbindes, Kimmeisen, Hände, Klezmers, Garten, Leib, die Tänze, Safe, Kimmeisen, Hände, Klezmers, leg Groschen auf den Tisch, I did it, bim, bum, bum, I did it, bim, bum, bum, I did it, bim, bum, bum, Honig, Menschen durch der Nacht. I did it, bim bum bum, did it, bim bum bum. I did it, bim bum bum. Kleis me spielt mit Freden brenn, Kleis me spielt der Kachor, reißt die Strunas und Aschon. Schön Meckes, dann mich spielen, auf den Spaß durch der Nacht. Kleis me spielt der besten Tanz, uns geputzte sie mit der Kranz. Tanzen, trinken und nachher, sein verkostet fit sich bei mir. I did it, bim bum bum, I did it, bim bum bum. I did it, bim bum bum, hohen Menschen durch die Nacht. I did it, bim bum bum, I did it, bim bum bum. I did it, bim bum bum, Klaas, man spielt mit Freudenbrett.
Yeah, some of that little old world Romanisha, yeah.
Man, I love it.
Many interesting things come out of that cup.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was going to say something, but I won't. Okay.
Yeah, don't say it.
Elizabeth will introduce this beautiful Hanukkah tune on our Shimmering Lights in the next, and you might recognize the language.
That's right. And you know what? I'm going to sing it first in Ivrit, but then I'm going to sing it in English. And of course, I have to sing a little bit of Yiddish. So I'm not going to translate this song because if you just wait patiently, you're going to hear the English. Unless, of course, your Ivrit is your language, and then, you know, you can just learn some English.
Right.
Avi neroli neshamash lo avoka neshamash lo avoka yodim atem lichvod ma yodim atem lichvod ma yodim atem lichvod ma lichvod ha-Chanukah Natna leviva chama umetuka leviva chama umetuka yodim atem lichvod ma yodim atem lichvod ma yodim atem lichvod ma lichvod ha-Chanukah yodim natna.
I have more verses.
Sorry.
May I?
Yes, you may.
She's Dodi natan shurani pluta achat chuka יודעים אתם לכבוד מה יודעים אתם לכבוד מה יודעים אתם לכבוד מה לכבוד החנוכה מורי נתן סביבוני סביבון מעופרת מתוקה סביבון מעופרת יצוקה יודעים אתם לכבוד מה יודעים אתם לכבוד מה יודעים אתם לכבוד מה לכבוד החנוכה My father lit some candles for me with a shamish that works like a torch, with a shamish that looks like a torch. Zerwiesen muss es war, zerwiesen muss es war, zerwiesen muss es war, Lechoved Chanukah. My mother gave a latke to me. Latke so warm and sweet. Latke so warm and sweet. Zerwiesen muss es war. Zerwiesen muss es war. Zerwiesen muss es war. Lechoved Chanukah. My teacher gave a dreidel to me. Cast from a lead mold, cast from a lead mold. Zerwiesen muss es war, zerwiesen muss es war, zerwiesen muss es war. Lechoved Chanukah. My uncle gave a small gift to me, a single engraved coin, a single engraved coin. Zerwiesen muss es war, zerwiesen muss es war, zerwiesen muss es war. Lechoved Chanukah.
All right. Nothing like stepping on the singer's toes. Or was that more like singing, stepping on her vocal cords?
I don't know. You live here. We'll have a conference later.
Okay. Yes. All right, folks. Mea culpa. Almost there.
It's okay.
Okay.
Devolve after
The witches of
2020. We don't
Lublin.
sweat the small stuff anymore.
2 times 3. All right, so we'll keep this intro short. We will dedicate this to a friend of ours that I know Avi knows rather well, and that is Tova Feldshuh. Tova Feldshuh was in our audio drama. Yes, we also write. Elizabeth is a really fine writer, and I just sort of tag along. And we did an audio drama some years ago called, and you can get it on audible.com, called The Witches of Lublin. The Witches of Lublin. And she plays the lead role, and it's sort of a Yiddish feminist surrealistic piece that takes place in Pesach. So this is the tune that did make the play. We just didn't have space, but I hope you enjoy it. The Witches of Lublin, with wonderful arrangement by Jeff Bickert. Right.
Nice.
Yes. All
Very
right. It sounds kind of a little witchy, right? A little kind of scariness there. All right. Wonderful. Okay. So, aren't you lucky? We're going to have double plectrums. Let's bring on the wonderful Elizabeth Schwartz.
Is that a plectrum? No,
playing.
obviously not.
It is a plectrum.
Okay.
And she will be playing her tenor, or is it baritone?
It's my baritone ukulele, bro.
Baritone ukulele.
Bruh.
And here we go with a classic tune. One that you can all sing along, at least the chorus.
8, 6, 5, 4.
Wir singen kinderliche Sänger zusammen, an Hügendorf Freilachen mit Pferde, was es graben. Die Mama kocht am Lokschen sich mit Kasche in die Knädlich. Der Jagd im Chanukka, weil wir spielen sich in Drehen. Chitty bim, chitty bom, chitty bim bom, bim bom, bim bom, chitty bim, chitty bom, chitty bim bom, bim bom bom. Chitty 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 bim bom bom. Chitty 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 bom, chitty bim bom 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 bom. Sind sie Revenue gegangen in der Weg, in dem Hof und dann zu pluchen, gissen neuer Regen. Schreit der Rebbe zu der Kneue her, gissen Wasser, sollen alle sie dem Blick nach Eis, nach der Rebbe seine Nase. Chitty bim, chitty bom, chitty bim bom, bim bom, bim bom, chitty bim, chitty bom, chitty bim bom, bim bom bom. Chitty 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 bim bom bom. Chitty 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 bom chitty bim bom bim bom bom.
All right, I can't sing that fast, you guys. You guys are killing me. Here we go.
Wir sind das in dem Städtelchen, wachsen an Aronen. Und wir seien die Krieger, haben ihre schönen Wunden. Ich kann nur lachen, Tag und Nacht, so lach ist die Gazlonen. Und so schön ist die Narische, wir seien die Nachholen. Chitty bim, chitty bom, chitty bim bom, bim bom, bim bom, chitty bim, chitty bom, chitty bim bom, bim bom bom. Chitty 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 bim bom bom. Chitty 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 bom, chitty bim bom 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 bom. Chitty 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 bim bom bom. Chitty 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 chitty. Chitty bim bom 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 bom.
That's right. There And you know, us violinists, bassists, guitarists, we don't worry about breathing. We can just play any tempo.
Yeah, how about that? How about that
How about
breathing thing?
Breathing, that's it. What is this breathing? Is that what fish do underwater? All righty. Oh, we'll take a little, where are we now? Okay, oh yeah. So two last pieces, guys, two last pieces. We're gonna do a piece called, from the Carpathian Mountains. It's a dance piece known as the Kolameka. And it's a celebratory piece. We'll start off slow in this improvisational way, and then we'll get into the more upbeat Freilach way. So we'll have some, enjoy that. And then we'll end with a real
With a sing-along.
With a sing-along, exactly. With a sing-along. Okay. All right. That's on, that's all. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Strom.
Oh, my, that was
Right now,
amazing.
Tamarine, what's her face?
Wow.
Those were stories. All right, so bringing our Freilich, for bringing home one last piece. And
One
listen-
last song for you. And I was just talking to a group of people about this today because we Yiddishists tend to sing this first verse. We tend to not sing the second verse, and I think it just gets a little too religious, too many religious references. And then we all have to sing the English at least together. So when you guys are ready. Oh, and there's a little surprise that Yale wrote in here.
Yeah.
You'll hear.
No, let Jeff open it with you guys.
Okay. Is that in G minor?
No.
That's
Sorry.
okay. I thought it was a test. Oi Chaneke, a jante verschöne, alles der Gefreiliche, nicht da noch gesehne, alle Nacht im Dreidlich spielen wir. Sittig heißer Lat gesessen, mir geschwinde sind Kinder, die dienen gelächterlich an. Sagt Al-Hanisim, Leut Gott, Vater Nisim, mein Kind gehe tanzen in Korn. Sagt Al-Hanisim, Leut Gott, Vater Nisim, mein Kind gehe tanzen in Korn. Jehida hat vertreten dem Säuner, dem Rotseach, in Hottenbeis am Mikdash gesingen am Natseach. Die Stadt Jerusalem hat wieder euch gelebt, in Sinai Leben hat jeder gestrebt. Der Rebbe, dem Geben, Jehida Maccabi Leut heuch. Soll jeder basing, die Winder im Leben des Volks sollte euch. Soll jeder basingen, die Winder im Leben des Volks sollte euch.
Oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather round the table, give you a treat. Dreidels to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago.
Yeah. Bravo.
Jeff McCarrick, everybody, contrabass and guitar, wonderful friend, master musician. Elizabeth Schwartz, vocals, ukulele.
Yale Strom and ukulele.
My name's Yale Strom, the one who steps on the vocalist. No. It's giving a claim to us. A claim
That's
to
all right. You'll pay for it later, I'm sure.
I forgive him.
All right, Avi.
Too. It's a holiday of miracles.
Yeah.
And that's one of them.
So
Right.
thank you, Shimmering Lights. What a beautiful concert. And ladies and gentlemen, this concert is available on CD, and
Yes.
you can get it at yalestrom.com.
Yeah, thank you,
And
folks.
you can get a lot of other things there that are really, really amazing. Yale, Elizabeth, Jeff, wow. A few things. First of all, that last song, we used to sing a different lyric. And I think it was because the Shulam Aleichem folk shul was so afraid of, ala nisim,
Right.
religious stuff. So we sang, La mir alle singen und la mir alle springen und la mir alle tanzen in Kon.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of La mir singen ala nisim.
Listen,
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yale, and all three of you, really, I'm fascinated so much by the mix of styles. You are able to mix into these songs that some of us know, and then there are several songs that none of us know because you found them and discovered them. But when you start to mix in the Ladino and the jazz and the Sfaradi and the Mizrahi and the Arabic sounds, how, I'm just curious from an academic perspective, how do you gauge those kinds of stylistic additions and changes and parts of the music?
Right. That's a good question. Because I think musicians who are also, academicians like myself, you sometimes struggle with it. Some people come to it and say, it's got to be the sama, echte, genuine, authentic. And this is, a story I just say, so someone says, I love that Freilach she played, but it's not quite from this night. It's not quite like what I heard in 1913 from this old 78 I have. I said, well, let's hear it. Let me learn. Oh, as you hear the scratches and you go, so that's a very beautiful piece from 1913, by whatever, the Boybericker Capella.
Right.
But then I said, guess what? Shmuel, der Musikant, Shmuel der Fiddler, who played in the Boybericker Capella in 1913. Let me think. I think his great-great-great-grandfather in 1813 played it a little differently from him. And then even the great-great-great-great-great-grandfather in 1713 played it even differently. Meaning, once it becomes codified, meaning, it's recorded, that's the way it should be. But people are moved. I mean, Jeff can talk to this, but I think if music organically comes from your heart, and you're trying to tell a story, happy or sad or somewhere in between, and it feels organic instead of kind of like you're trying to match chess pieces or something. People will go with it. It does, there's some pieces I play more traditionally, quote, but it's just the notes that whoever wrote it. Other times I like to add that, and I think, you know what? Now that I think, I know, I have been in, for example, Hasidic circles by a Tish and Shabbos, where of course we're just singing, so the instruments are our voices. Where I go around purposely, I went around to hear the other Balavati. I'm listening to them singing. Some are singing with the Rebbe, some are singing in tune with the Rebbe, some are singing harmony, some are singing out of tune, some are singing, they're doubling the rhythm. Man, they're changing it. Right. And the Rebbe's not saying, oh, das passt nicht. Right. No, because why? It's coming from the neshama, and you don't want to put a damper on that. So I think for all genres, I think musicians around the world. I mean, wouldn't you agree with Jeff? I think.
Well, I have a little bit of a schizophrenia with that whole thing between doing guitar and bass, because when I play bass, I think of all this really cool research and really cool, old books and old recordings and all that kind of stuff, because I was trained on bass. It was really my, that was the instrument that they really, beat over my head and poked at my finger with pencils and said, no, that note's flat. So I think of the past, but when I play guitar, I think about all the other guitar players. I think about, how would Fred Benedetti play it? How would Adam Del Monte play it? How would Django Reinhardt play it? How would, Stevie Ray Vaughan play it?
Right. How do you
and it kind of comes to you in different times. I mean, I think, and sometimes you think of the oud players. I think back on old recordings of Victoria Hazan and stuff like that, and you think, oh my gosh, this is oud. This isn't. I mean, I'm not even playing the right instrument. I'm playing. I should be playing something else, or a bouzouki. And then so guitar gives me like a little bit more of a flight of fancy, whereas on bass, I think I feel a little bit more like I owe something to the boneyard.
Right.
That's the next album title.
Right.
There you go.
So Shimmering Lights, what was fun about it was being able to mix in. I mean, it's an octet, so when people listen to it, they'll hear us three and 5 other wonderful musicians. Sarah Caswell, one of the great jazz musicians, violinists in the world, and David Wallace, one of the killer violas. Amos Hoffman, Israeli amazing oud player, Fred Benedetti, amazing classical guitar. So we all came with our own strong suits and wove a new quilt. I guess is the best way to put it.
We have to go soon because we're already past an hour. We've already lost our website for now. But
okay.
I have a question, which is really fascinating to me, Yale. When I meet people like Efim Chorny and Suzanne Gergus in Moldova, and a lot of the ethnomusicologists who live in Europe and were living in the shtetls or near the shtetl, and they heard the music and they were in. How did you come to this?
Well, because they live there and they still live there. Efim does. He lives in Chisinau. I thank my parents, my mother and father. I grew up in a home with, American culture and baseball, and I love sports. I was a very good, if I may say, cross-country track and field runner in high school and college, a side of me no one knows about. But steeped in the love and respect for Yiddish culture, even some Hasidic culture, because of my grandparents on my father's side were Hasidim. And but when I took the initial trip, in fact, it was Jeff here. He's the first person on the planet to know about it before I told my parents that I was dropping out of law school was Jeff, because I went to Jeff and he talked about the bass. And, I don't just say this, I really mean it. Jeff is such a great musician and all around. So I knew selfishly, now I'm saying this, I don't think I ever told this to you. I said, man, if I get Pekarik to be not only the bassist, but like the key guy in my band, then we started off with a strong base, right? You don't start off with a roof of a house, you start with a base. So Jeff said, go for it. I love folk music. So I went off and I researched it. And when I was researching, I love talking. Some people say, do you feel like you were born in a different century? You seem like you like to hang out with old people and talking about the stories. And I do. I always call myself like at the Hanukkah for bringing. While the other kids were maybe playing and off running in the basement, I'd be the one sitting around by the Fetters and the Mimas and the Zetas, just kind of hanging on their words because the stories were like movies in my head. So I think that's what, I loved. I love that culture and I love the history. And I ended like this. So Jeff, I said, I'll be back in 2 months. He said, great. So 6 months later, I called Jeff from Budapest. And I said, hey, Jeff. And the first thing he said, where the hell have you been? We've been waiting. When are you coming back? I said, pretty soon. And another 7 months went by. So anyhow, but that's another story. So, I come from my research, the love of it and the travel and hope to continue as long as the body, the goof is willing.
Beautiful. Well, wonderful concert. Thank the three of you. And this is not the last time we're going to see you in this little festival. Because on Sunday morning at 12 noon, why don't you tell us what you're going to be doing for us?
Well, I'm proud to say I just came out with my second children's illustrated book based upon some ethnographic research I did in the 80s in Romania. It's a Hanukkah story. It's called Shloimel Boimel and his lucky dreidel. Shloimel Boimel mit dem Mazel dicken dreidel. And Boimel means oil, so Solomon oil. And it's actually, it's for all ages. I mean, young kids. There's illustrations. But what's wonderful is it's in English, so you read it from left to right. But it's in Yiddish. Turn it over and you read it from right to left. So it's in Yiddish and English.
Oh wow!
And that's really, really cool. So there's illustrations. So come, and then at the end of it, I'll play a few Romanian Jewish melodies. But the beauty is, I'm preaching to the choir when I speak to Avi because he's been doing this for his whole life. But Yiddish culture, I think, can't just rest on the laurels of the past. But you have to push it forward or it becomes stale. And young people will just say, that's nice, but it's the same old, same old. So I am writing new stories and they're steeped with old culture, but new culture. So I think that for me, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I think Yiddish culture to bring new audiences must push forward into the Kimmendika Zeiten.
That's absolutely right. Halavai, halavai, halavai.
Amen.
And you know what? The wonderful thing is, as I've been learning more and more as we're doing more of these festivals and performances, there are so many younger people discovering what you have brought to the world and taking it to new places. Josh Dolgan and Michael Winograd and the Yid Life Crisis boys with their Yiddishkeit. I mean, it's just really amazing how much is out there.